Hello MPPNs. As you all know that today we are going through harsh times which we have never experienced in our history, and that is global shutdown. Today the whole world is at their homes fighting against COVID-19. Many have surrendered to death. Many have lost their jobs and many students are not able to get education. But we don't want you, the MPPNs, compromise with your studies. MP Public School is there for you in this lockdown time, giving you the study materials online. So stay home and stay learning. Dear students, let us study science. The first chapter of class 6th science textbook is Sources of Food. Let us go through the chapter. Before that, have a look at the contents of this chapter. The first main heading of this chapter is Sources of Food for Human Beings. It has two subparts. First one is plants and second one is animals. The second main topic of this chapter is Sources of Food for Animals. The third topic of this chapter is Daily Energy Requirement and BMR. The fourth main topic of this chapter is Maintenance of Food Quality. Now let us move on to the chapter. First of all, let's introduce the chapter. Food is the main source of energy. Of course, without food, we can't get energy. And without energy, we can do nothing. We need energy to walk. We need energy to talk. We need energy to run and to perform many functions. It gives us energy for movement and warmth, and it helps our body and keep healthy. Anything that people eat can be called food. Till now, we studied importances of food, uses of food, and so on. But we forgot to learn the definition of food. What is that? Anything that people eat can be called as food. We need food because it performs the following functions: provides us energy, helps in growth and repair of body parts, regulates growth and the normal functioning of body, protects the body against diseases, and many more. So now let us start this chapter. The first main heading of this chapter is Sources of Food for Human Beings. As I told you, it has two subparts. The first one is plants. In this subpart, we shall study the following topics. Let us see the topics. First one is cereal crops. Second one is root crops. Third, stem crops. Fourth, leaves. Fifth, flowers. And sixth, fruits. And the last one is plantation agriculture. Let us start with cereal crops. Cereal crops give us more food than any other source. Cereal crops are considered as the most important type of food. There are many varieties of food, but out of these varieties, they are considered as the most important type of food. Some cereals such as rice and maize are eaten in their raw form. Some cereals such as rice and maize are eaten in their natural form. Some cereals such as wheat and rye are grinded into flour before baked or cooked. Here are some pictures. First one is wheat and second one is maize. They both are the examples of cereal crops. Let us move ahead. Second one is root crops. Root crops include many vegetables and a few sweet plants. Root crops are good to eat as they contain large amounts of starch and energy-giving substance. What is starch? It is an energy-giving substance. During photosynthesis, glucose is obtained as a byproduct of photosynthesis. This glucose is stored in the plant in the form of starch. The common root crops are yam, sweets, turnips, carrots, radishes, beetroots, etc. Here is a picture showing all the root crops. Let us identify them. In this picture we can see carrots, beetroot, radish, turnip and many more. Next one is stem crops. Stem provide the means for the transportation of water, minerals and food. During photosynthesis, there is a need for water. So the water is carried from the roots to the leaf through the stem. So stems mediate between roots and leaf to carry water. Secondly, after the process of photosynthesis, the food prepared has to be sent to different parts of the plant. This is done through the stems. Stems mediate between leaf and the other parts of the plant. Stem of some plants are modified to fulfill our food requirements. Some stem crops are potato, turmeric, elephant's foot, onion, garlic, sugarcane, etc. Here are some pictures. The first one is ginger, which has been cut down into slices. Second one is sugarcane. These two are the examples of stem crops. Next one is leaves. Leaf is known as the kitchen of the plant. Why leaves are known as kitchen of the plant? Because leaves are the main sites of production of food for the plant. I want to ask you a question. At your home, in which room your mummy cooks food? Yes, of course, she cooks food in the kitchen. Likewise, in a plant, food is produced in the leaf. So, leaf is known as the kitchen of the plant. Leaves are the main organs of respiration and produce food for the plant. Some leaves of the plants can be used for our consumption. Like we used different parts of the plant like roots, stems for our consumption, we can use some leaves also for our consumption. These leaves are highly rich in vitamins and minerals. These leaves are highly rich in vitamins and minerals. Some leafy vegetables are spinach, methi, cabbage, etc. Here is a picture which shows all the leafy vegetables. Let's move ahead. Next one is flowers. Flowers are the structure that contain the reproductive organs of the plant. I think you know that fruits are grown from the flowers. Firstly, flowers bloom out in a plant. Then from the flowers, fruits are grown. Some of them provide us direct food. Some of the flowers provide us direct food. The flowers that are fit for consumption improves our immune system. What is immune system? It is a system in our body which protects our body from the harmful germs and microorganisms present in the atmosphere. The flowers that are fit for consumption are cauliflower, broccoli, etc. Petals of rose are also used as food. Here are some pictures for you. First one is broccoli and second one is cauliflower. These two are the examples of flowers. Let's move ahead. Next one is fruits. Fruits provide us sweet and juicy food. Fruits may be dry or fleshy. Dry fruits include acorns, pea pods, etc. What are dry fruits? Dry fruits are the fruits in which there is no water content. Fleshy fruits include grapes, tomatoes, berries, plums, peaches, etc. What are fleshy fruits? Fleshy fruits are the fruits that have a large amount of water content in it. Apples, pears, mangoes, guavas, bananas are popular fruits eaten as food almost throughout the world. See, here is a picture of fruits. In this picture we can see bananas, oranges, grapes, strawberries, berries, plums and many more. By seeing this picture, I think your mouth is watering, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Next one is plantation agriculture. Plantation agriculture is carried over purely for food purpose. That is, plantation agriculture is carried over mainly for consumption. In this type of agriculture, a large piece of land is cultivated with a single variety of crop. What do you mean by plantation agriculture? It is a type of agriculture in which hectares of land are cultivated with a single variety of crop. Have you ever visited tea gardens? If yes, you must have noticed it because hectares of land are covered to cultivate tea leaves, and you can see tea leaves everywhere there. The crops under plantation agriculture include tea, coffee, oranges, coconuts, etc. See the pictures. They are the examples of plantation agriculture. We have completed the first subpart of the main heading. Now we are moving on to the second subpart of the main heading, that is animals. In this subpart we shall study the following topics. First one is livestock. Second, sheep and goat. Third, poultry farming. And fourth, fishery. Let us move ahead. First one is livestock. Animals like cow and buffalo are most important livestock in India. If you are asked which animals are considered as the most important livestock in India, then you will answer cows and buffaloes are the animals that are considered as the most important livestock in India. They provide us milk, which is a perfect natural diet. Most of the people tame cows and buffaloes for commercial purpose. What is the reason behind taming of cows and buffaloes? The reason behind taming of cows and buffaloes by most of the people is to earn money by selling the cows and buffaloes' milk. See, here is a picture which shows livestock. Let us move ahead. Next one is sheep and goat. Sheep and goat provide us with meat, milk and wool. Goats are commonly known as poor man's cow. Why? Because a poor man cannot afford a cow, so he keeps his goats as cows. In many cases, sheep and goats are the domestic animals of poor people. Here are the pictures of goat and sheep. Let us continue. Next one is poultry farming. Poultry farming deals with rearing birds like hen, pigeon, geese, etc. for eggs and meat. Poultry products like eggs are rich source of animal protein and fat for good health. The term poultry refers to the birds like hen, geese, duck, pigeon, etc. The word poultry means birds like hen, geese, duck, pigeon, turkeys, pheasants, quail, swans, and many more. See, here is a picture which shows poultry farming. Let us continue. Next one is fishery. From prehistoric times, fish have been used as protein-rich diet for human beings, especially those living in coastal areas. The main food item for the people living in coastal areas is fish. Fishes are highly nutritious and easily digestible. Shark liver oil and cod liver oil are natural sources of vitamin A and D. See, here is a picture which shows fishery. Now we are moving on to the second part of this chapter. What is that? Sources of food for animals. We know that plants make their own food, but animals can't make their own food. Animals eat plants or other animals. On the basis what the animals eat, they have been divided into the following categories. Now let us go through these categories. First one is herbivores. Herbivores are the animals that depend on plant material for their food. Who are herbivores? Herbivores are the animals that depend on plant material for their food. Herbivores mainly include the grazing and browsing animals. It is a fact that the animals categorized under herbivores are mainly grazing and browsing animals. Examples of herbivores are rabbits, deer, cattle, etc. Here are some pictures. First one is rabbit and second one is deer. They both are the examples of herbivores. Let us move ahead. Second one is carnivores. Carnivores are the animals that eat the flesh of other animals. Who are carnivores? Carnivores are the animals that eat the flesh of other animals. Carnivores have sharp canines to tear the flesh. Since carnivores eat the flesh of other animals, so their teeth must be modified to eat the flesh. So they have sharp canines to tear the flesh. Examples of carnivores are wolf, dog, lion, tiger, hyenas, seals, walrus, etc. Here are some pictures for you. First one is lion and second one is tiger. They both are the examples of carnivores. Third one is omnivores. Omnivores are the animals that eat both plant and animal as their food. Who are omnivores? Omnivores are the animals that eat both plant as well as animal as their food. They have sharp front teeth and molars for grinding the food. Since they eat both plant and animal, so their teeth must be modified to tear the flesh as well as to grind the grass. So they have sharp front teeth and molars for grinding the food. Examples of omnivores are crow, deer, human beings, rats, etc. Here are some pictures for you. First one is crow and second one is deer. They both are the examples of omnivores. Next one is scavengers. Scavengers are the creatures that eat dead animals or organisms. Who are scavengers? Scavengers are the creatures that eat dead animals or organisms. Scavengers play an important role in the ecosystem by consuming dead animal and plant material. In other words, we can say that scavengers are the sweepers of earth. Why? Because they clear dead and decaying animal matters. Examples of scavengers are vulture, eagle, jackals, hyenas, etc. Here are some pictures for you. First one is eagle and second one is vulture. They both are the examples of scavengers. Let us move ahead. Now we are moving to the third main part of this chapter. What is that? Daily energy requirement and BMR. Daily energy requirement. Food builds up the body tissues, protects it against infection, regulates its metabolic activities, and gives energy to work. Our body's energy requirement depends upon our age, sex, body weight, and occupation. Let us continue. Daily energy requirement. The table shows the approximate calories required daily by different people. If the boys and girls of 0 to 1 year of age has a body weight of 7.3 kg, then the energy required by them is 800 calories. If the boys and girls of 4 to 7 years of age has a body weight of 20.5 kg, then the energy required by them is 1800 calories. If the boys of age 15 to 18 years has 61 kg of body weight, then energy required by them will be 3000 calories. If girls of 15 to 18 years of age have 56.1 kg as their weight, then energy required by them will be 2300 calories. If men of 18 to 35 years of age have a body weight of 65 kg, then energy required by them will be 3000 calories. If men of 35 to 65 years of age have 65 kg as their body weight, then energy required by them will be 2900 calories. If men of 65 to 75 years of age have body weight of 63 kg, then the energy required by them will be 2350 calories. If the men's age is over 75 years and have 63 kg as their body weight, then the energy required by them will be 2100 calories. If women of 18 to 55 years of age have 55 kg as their body weight, then the energy required by them will be 2200 calories. If a woman is pregnant and has a body weight of 56 kg, then the energy required by her will be 2400 calories. If a woman is lactating and her body weight is 55 kg, then the energy required by her is 2700 calories. If women of 55 to 75 years of age and have 53 kg as their mass, then energy required by them will be 2050 calories. If the age of a woman is over 75 years and her body weight is 53 kg, then the energy required by her will be 1900 calories. I think you have understood this table. If it is not so, then you can listen to this video once again. Now let us continue. Basal metabolic rate. What is basal metabolic rate? Basal metabolic rate or BMR is a measure of how many calories your body needs to maintain its functions when you rest. BMR is a measure of how many calories your body needs to maintain its functions when you rest. Even while you are sleeping or at rest, your body needs energy to keep you alive by performing the vital functions such as respiration, circulation, digestion, and maintenance of body temperature. Let's move ahead. Calculation of BMR. Now we will learn how to calculate BMR. To determine your BMR, first of all, you should multiply 1 calorie or kg or hour by your mass in kilogram. Secondly, take this number and multiply it by 24 hours. This will give you basal metabolic rate in calories. For example, suppose your mass is 50 kg. I am not saying your mass is 50 kg. Just suppose it. Suppose your mass is 50 kg. Then your BMR would be 1 calorie into 50 kg into 24 hours is equal to 1200 calories. It is the required BMR. So now you can find your BMR easily. I will give you a homework. Just go and find your weight, then find your BMR. If you are successful, then find your family members, relatives and friends BMRs. Okay, let's continue. The fourth and the last topic of this chapter is maintenance of food quality. Maintenance of food quality. What do you mean by maintenance of food quality? Maintenance of food quality means that all the activities from production of food to its consumption should be hygienic. Let's continue. The quality of food can be maintained in the following ways. First of all, storage. The perishable food materials such as milk, vegetables, fruits, etc. get easily spoiled. They should be stored at low temperature, which helps them to retain their nutritive value and reduces losses from spoilage. So, to prevent perishable food materials from getting spoiled, you should store the food materials at low temperature, which helps them to retain their nutritive value. Refrigerator, deep freezer and cold storage are suitable places to store perishable items. Non-perishable food materials are stored in airtight containers. The place for dry storage should be well ventilated and free from rodents. The place for dry storage has to be dry, well ventilated and free from rodents as well as insects. Let's continue. The second way to maintain the quality of food is handling. Food quality depends upon the personal hygiene of the persons who handle it at the time of its storing, cooking and serving. Unhygienic food handlers may cause diseases such as diarrhea, dysentery, typhoid, etc. Food handlers should wash their hands with soap every time before handling food. Why? Because if food handlers are suffering from any type of disease, then the disease which they are suffering from might be transferred to the one whom they are serving. So it is very much necessary to follow all the hygienic measures. Coughing and sneezing near the food should be avoided. Why? Because it is said that during coughing and sneezing, the disease causing pathogens move from the infected person to the one who is standing or who is in direct contact with him. Let's continue. The third way to maintain the quality of food is cleanliness. Proper sanitation of cooking and eating places is essential for maintaining quality of food. The kitchen doors and windows should be fly-proof and rat-proof. The utensils and dishes should be cleaned with hot water using a good quality detergent. Why? Because it is said that when utensils and dishes are cleaned with hot water, then all the germs and disease causing microorganisms are removed or washed away with the water. The vegetable and the other wastes should be put into covered bins and suitably disposed. Eating places must be airy, fly-free and dust-free places. Let us move on to the last way to maintain the quality of food, and that is cooking. Food materials like rice may lose about 40% of their vitamin B and minerals if they are overwashed. So, overwashing is harmful. Peeled or cut vegetables and fruits lose vitamin B and C if they are overwashed. Overcooking of vegetables destroy many vitamins. If meat and eggs are heated for too long, above 70 degrees Celsius, their proteins become too hard to digest. On the other hand, eating of meat and chicken in uncooked or half-cooked forms may transmit disease-causing organisms or worms which the animal has been carrying. Hence, care should be taken that the food you eat should be properly cooked. So, we are binding our chapter here. I think you have understood this chapter well, and if it is not so, then you can go through the video once more.